Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Wait, there's a knot in my microphone. Hold on. Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants, absorbing the yellow and orange sea. SpongeBob SquarePants, he's not a connoisseur, use nothing you wish. SpongeBob SquarePants, it's over the deck and flop like a fish. SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. I hope you enjoyed my singing, guys. I don't know. I've been rehearsing that a little bit. Anyway, welcome back to another lovely episode of the CheeseCast. I'm your host, Dr. Cheese. And today, you might be wondering why I just randomly sang the intro to SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, everybody knows that intro. So you might be wondering, well, why did Dr. Cheese just randomly sing the intro? Good question, my friend, because today we are talking about some of the best cartoons in history. Or at least what I think are some of the best. You know, everybody has their own opinions, but these shows are not just my opinion, but like a lot of people think that some of these shows we're about to talk about, some of these cartoons are the best ones. So yeah, I hope it isn't too nerdy for you guys. I hope it's pretty general. I hope I don't get too nerdy about talking about these cartoons. But yeah, but as you all know, well, not all of you, but if you've been listening to the CheeseCast up to this point, you probably know by now that before we begin today's episode, we have to answer our riddle from the last episode. So, let's answer riddle number 3. So, the riddle from last episode was, what has one eye but can't see? I'll say it again one more time. What has one eye but can't see? Again, I literally have no clue. So far, all of these riddles have been really good ones. Like, I don't have the slightest clue of what the answers to any of these are. So yeah, we got some pretty tough riddles here on the CheeseCast. And, you know, I kind of put myself through that torture because I'm the one that's picking out the riddles. Maybe I should just pick out easier riddles. Maybe I should just do that. But anyway. Do you guys have any ideas what has one eye but can't see? Because I don't. Wait. Is it like a word? Because, like, what has one eye but can't see? I think it's a word. Like, I think it's literally... No, because why'd they spell it like E-Y-E? Anyway, let's find out the answer. Alright, ready? What has one eye but can't see? The answer is... a needle? What? A needle has one eye? But can't see? What? Wait, is that meaning like the little hole at the end of a needle? Like, is it the little hole that you put the thread through? Is that called the eye? What? What? Some of these riddles are just like... just really out there, you know? Okay. That was a pretty... That stumped me, I gotta admit. That was a stumper. But yeah, let's just get right into the meat of this episode, you know? So, our first cartoon we are going to talk about is, I'm sure you guys have heard of this one. I wouldn't say it's niche. I'd say it's a pretty widely known cartoon. And that is Adventure Time. Adventure Time follows Finn the human and Jake the dog. I think they're stepbrothers, I think. I mean, they just call each other bros, but, like, I think they're stepbrothers, so, because obviously a human and a dog can't come from the same mother. But yeah, it's Finn the human and Jake the dog, and they're bros, and they just go on adventures. That's really what happens in the show. Um, but yeah, but the thing with Adventure Time is, on the surface, it's just a happy-go-lucky cartoon about Finn and Jake going on wacky, crazy adventures. But you'd actually be surprised that a vast majority of the episodes in Adventure Time actually contain some really deep life lessons. And it's pretty, I don't know. It depends on like how old you are when you're watching it. Because if you're like a kid watching Adventure Time, a bunch of the hidden meanings in the episodes might like fly over your head. But like, I watched the whole series of Adventure Time like maybe like a year ago, and it's really good. It got to the point. It's one of those shows where like I felt sad when I finished it. Because it's such a huge show. It's 10 seasons. That's a lot. It's 10 seasons, and every season had like approximately like 30 to 40 episodes, 30 to 40 12-minute episodes. It's a pretty big show. 10 seasons. So yeah, I was kind of sad. It's because another part is that like in the show, the Finn is sort of like, he's kind of the main character. I mean, it's more of like there's so many other like characters in the show, but like I feel like Finn is sort of like one of the main focuses of the show, because at the beginning of Adventure Time, Finn the human, he's 12 years old. He's a little kid. He's a little harmless, innocent child, and like he's pretty, I wouldn't say naive. He has virtuous qualities as a child, but throughout, as the show progresses through the 10 seasons, you really get to see him like get all these life lessons and really just grow up, just learning how to like deal with like breakup and stuff. Finn has like 3 girlfriends in the whole show. I don't know. You just really get to see him like just really like just mature and just really grow up, and that's something that's so cool, because like I said, he was like 12 at the beginning of the show. Finn, at the end of the show, he's like 17 or 18. Like you quite literally get to see him go from like a small child to an adult. So that's really crazy. So Adventure Time, I'll always cherish that show, even though I didn't really grow up with Adventure Time. I didn't really grow up with it at all. But yeah, it'll still be very, very dear, a very dear show to me. Yeah. So yeah, that's Adventure Time. And then, man, all of these are bangers. Next cartoon we're going to talk about is Phineas and Ferb. The thing with Phineas and Ferb is that every single episode follows the same exact formula. Phineas and Ferb are going to build something crazy or do something crazy in their backyard, while their older sister Candace is trying to bust them for their crazy antics. Her whole mission is to tell their mom about, just tattle on them. I don't know why she wants to tattle on Phineas and Ferb for like doing all this cool stuff. Like Phineas and Ferb, they'll do like crazy stuff. Like they'll go to space, they'll build like a giant roller coaster for their friends. And yeah, but I remember when I was younger, I would watch Phineas and Ferb, and it would like inspire me. They would inspire me to like go outside and like just make something. Cause you know how cool it is when you see like 2 like 10-year-old boys on a cartoon and they build like a giant like rocket ship for their friends and they go to space. Like, you know how cool that is? Or they'll build like a race car track. They built a beach in their backyard. That's the kind of stuff that Phineas and Ferb do. So yeah, that was a very inspiring cartoon for me as a kid. Because like even though like, I don't know, even though it was like really unrealistic stuff that they built, like I still wanted to like make something because of them, But yeah. Also, Phineas and Ferb, it's kind of like a musical. I never really thought of it that way. I don't know. Because like the thing with Phineas and Ferb is that there's a song in every single episode. I'm not even joking. There's like a song that they wrote that has something to do with, like, that has something relevant to do with the episode. And there's a song for every single episode. And there's like so many episodes. So like, it really makes you think, like, there's so much effort that went into making Phineas and Ferb, from like pitching an episode, to writing an episode, to voice acting the episode, to animating it, and to making a song that has like something to do with the topic of the episode for every single episode. You know how hard that is? Like, I'm struggling over here writing my podcast, but the people who made Phineas and Ferb are like doing all that? Like, that's crazy. Like, man. But like Phineas and Ferb, it'll always be a classic. It'll always be a classic. Yeah. Next cartoon. Next up, we got a little break from the cartoon talk. We're gonna get right back into it soon, but we got our fun fact for today's episode. So, today's fun fact comes from natgeokids.com. So, the sunset on Mars appears blue. All right. That's a pretty fun fact. It's pretty short. It's a pretty brief fun fact. That would actually be so cool to see because like Mars is red, and if the sunset appears blue, that would be beautiful. See, this is why Elon Musk has to really like lock in. So like cuz I want to go to space. Like I'm not even joking. I want to go to space before I die. Like whether it's like just going to space, just flying around for a little bit, or if it's like going to the moon. Like I got to go to space before I die. I only have one life on this earth. Like I have to do something, you know? So yeah, I've always wanted to go to space. So that's why Elon Musk really needs to lock in and try to get us to Mars, cuz I want to see that blue sunset. That would be beautiful. The red terrain of Mars with the blue sunset. You know how like contrasting that would look? Just brings a tear to my eye. Anyway. So yeah, that was a pretty fun fact. Next cartoon we're going to talk about. Everybody knows this one. It's what I sang in the beginning of the episode. It's SpongeBob SquarePants. So, I would consider SpongeBob as the cartoon. I think it's that good. Everybody knows it. It's like I think it sets the perfect example of what a cartoon should be. You know, I remember in the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, they did have some songs. I think songs are a big part of cartoons. You know, we already talked about Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb had songs in it, but it was more of a musical one. But SpongeBob is just a regular old cartoon, but it still had some songs in the earlier seasons. I can't talk. So yeah. I mean, just think about it. SpongeBob. It's hilarious. So many iconic episodes, especially the earlier ones. You got there's so many memes. You know, how big of an impact has SpongeBob had on internet culture? Just think about that. Like think of how many like SpongeBob memes you see a week. Like if you use social media like maybe like 2 to 3 hours a day, you're pretty much destined to come across a SpongeBob meme. Wait, did I say 2 to 3 hours a week? I meant 2 to 3 hours a day for a week. Anyway. But yeah, there's so many memes. It's impacted internet culture so much. Honestly, there's not really a specific formula for a SpongeBob episode. It's one of those cartoons where it's like anything goes. You know, anything silly could happen. And that's why it's so enjoyable. It's because like, you know, there's so many silly characters. You got SpongeBob. He's the naive, happy-go-lucky guy, and he's always like, he's a little annoying at times, but he's pretty funny, you know? He's a pretty funny guy. You know, I would have him on the podcast if I could, but I don't know, I think he lives a little far away from here. And you got like, alright, SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, Squidward, Mr. Krabs. So many iconic characters. Squidward. Everybody says like Squidward is the most relatable. Like as like people get older, everybody says Squidward is the most relatable because Squidward's whole personality is like he's like a young adult and he's like all miserable all the time. Honestly, I kind of get Squidward, but like I don't know. I'm not fully an adult yet. I don't know. I kind of understand Squidward. But yeah, personally, I think my favorite character on SpongeBob, I think it'd be Patrick. I don't know. Patrick, he's so goofy, dude. I don't know. Patrick, he's such like a chill dude. Um, yeah. I mean, I would have a hot cup of Joe with Patrick if I could. But yeah, so many iconic characters, so many funny episodes, and yeah, anything wacky could happen. Anything could happen on SpongeBob. Also, it takes place under the sea, which I mean, a cartoon hasn't really done that before SpongeBob. I don't think so. There hasn't really been any cartoons that take place under the sea, which that was a very charming part of SpongeBob. It's because like I don't know, the fact that it was under the sea, it just gave it so many like summer vacation-y vibes. And you get that nice the reggae music in the background. And yeah. The only problem with SpongeBob is that like as the series went on, it sort of like got like gradually just like the quality kind of decreased during the modern episodes, especially these days. SpongeBob episodes like right now, they're not as great as they used to be. Partially it's because like Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, he left. I think he left after season 3, I think. And then like they sort of like I don't know, it was sort of mean. They kind of like made like and then Nickelodeon was like, all right, well, I guess we got to make season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then they just kept making SpongeBob without Steven Hillenburg. By the way, rest in peace, Steven Hillenburg. Thank you for giving us SpongeBob. Yeah, I think he passed away back in 2018, if I'm correct. I think that's right. It's 2018 or 19. Can't remember. But yeah, Steven Hillenburg, he brought us SpongeBob SquarePants. Season 1, 2, and 3 of SpongeBob were probably peak SpongeBob. And we got the movie, SpongeBob the movie after that. Ooh, what a great movie. Yeah, so that's SpongeBob, you know. It's pretty funny. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. It's a pretty nice show. So we got 2 more cartoons to talk about. One of them is I'm watching this one right now as well. It's The Amazing World of Gumball. So, The Amazing World of Gumball is a unique gem among cartoons. If when I was a kid, if I was looking for a show that I could laugh at, or if I was like bored one day and like I was looking for something to laugh at, something to get a little giggly about, I would always go to Cartoon Network and see if Gumball was on. And yeah, I would watch an episode, get a good laugh out of it. It's a pretty funny show. It's out of all of these shows, I think Gumball is... There's a lot of funny moments in Gumball. Even today, when I'm watching, like, Gumball, I still watch it today. I'm trying to watch the whole series, just like Phineas and Ferb. But even today, I still get a good laugh out of The Amazing World of Gumball. I don't know, it's such a funny show. I don't know why. There's so many, like, good bits and, like, jokes and stuff. Also, Gumball is a very artistic show. They have multiple art styles in that show, We got 2D hand-drawn animation, 3D models, 3D animation. We got puppets. They use puppets and live-action characters. Like, it's just, it truly is The Amazing World of Gumball. That's why they call it that. It's because there's so many, like, I don't know, it was an experimental cartoon, and the thing is, it worked. It tried so many, like, things that cartoons didn't try before, and it succeeded. It had all these crazy art styles and stuff, and it worked. Everybody liked it. Another true classic of 2010s cartoons. Another true classic. Yeah. So now we are moving on to the joke of today's episode of the CheeseCast. So today's joke comes from countryliving.com. All right. It's a good one when it comes from countryliving.com. All right. Some people pick their nose, but I was born with mine. Ugh, you know. Ah, man, that was pretty funny. Countryliving.com. You could always count on them for your best jokes. Yeah. All right, that was a pretty fun joke. All right, we're gonna talk about our last cartoon for this episode. And that cartoon is it's a cartoon that I'm a huge fan of. And that cartoon is Arthur. Man, oh man. Arthur is a show that is just full of soul. You know, it's such a human show. And that's kind of weird to say because all the characters in that show are like animals, but like you know what I mean. It's a very I don't know, it's a very art it's I said it already, but it's artistic. It's that human art factor of Arthur that just makes it so good. It's so like colorful and just it felt like such like a passionate show. You know, you could tell that like the people who made Arthur were really passionate about it. The whole thing with Arthur is that it's a show that teaches people, not just kids, but people of all ages. People of all ages can learn something from Arthur. It's a show that it just teaches like it just covers like social and life lessons. Social lessons and life lessons. And that's pretty good for a kids show. There's so many like characters and like there's so many dynamics in that show that people can really just like learn from and just learn from their just learn social lessons and like life lessons. It's I don't really know how else to describe it, but like it's Arthur. Arthur is such fundamentally it is a perfect not perfect, but it's a really, really good show, and I highly recommend you watch Arthur, just like one episode after this. I think you'll really like it. But yeah, I was watching an episode of Arthur just to jog my memory for this episode, because I was going to talk about it, and I just clicked on a random episode, and it was about Arthur's friend Buster. It was about how he deals with his mom and dad's divorce. What? This is a kid's show. And somehow they covered, like, the life lessons of, like, the social lessons of, like, kids who have, like, divorced parents. Like, that's, you know how deep that is? Like, that is a good kids show. That is a educational kids show. It's real. It teaches kids real life scenarios. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, like, it's a really, truly just real show. That's why Arthur, like, it's so, and you got the theme song as well, the classic Arthur theme song. You go, every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of view, and I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. You get to learn to work and play and get along with each other. But yeah, that classic Arthur theme song, it's iconic, you know. So yeah, I'm sure all of you have heard of Arthur. It's a pretty classic cartoon. All of these are classics, but like Arthur, it's Arthur, you know. And I think Arthur is like the oldest one on this list that I'm talking about. Arthur was like it was made in it started in '96 and it actually ended like 2 years ago. Which is actually kind of crazy. But yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Arthur, classic. Classic show. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's episode of the CheeseCast. So yeah, we're going to end off with today's riddle. That riddle blech. This riddle comes from Reader's Digest or rd.com. And the riddle is, all right, listen up. This is a pretty complicated riddle. I don't know why, but like, all right. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I? All right, I do not have the slightest clue of what this riddle is. Why do I pick the hardest riddles? I gotta pick an easier riddle next time. I will pick one. I can't promise that because I may forget, but like I will pick an easier riddle. I'll read the riddle again. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? A chair. Because a chair doesn't have water. Anyway. Well, thank you guys for coming by again. You know, it's been a pretty fun episode. You know, I got to geek out about some cartoons that I wanted to talk about. And yeah, hope you all have been having I hope you all have been having a great summer, having a great day. And yeah, watch cartoons. That's it for me. You've been watching the CheeseCast, and this is Dr. Cheese signing off. Bye. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.